question regarding bulk patient load enrollment dates. Can you show us real-time Excel sheet link to upload patient enrollment dates?
This conference.
We'll create the questions. We'll assign these sites to, okay. So DCM, DCI, DCI book, DCM, DCI, DCI book. So what is this DCM? It is data collection module. Data collection
Muted.
module. Anna, are you there, Anna?
Yes.
Anna, can you ping me on my WhatsApp, please?
Yes, I
Nandini, can you share the screen?
Sure, ma'am.
Unmuted.
Just share the
Sure,
screen and connect to AnyDesk.
sure.
So today we are working on CRF design. As last class we completed patient positions. So we have done with all the steps of the study design, naming and defining the study, naming and defining the study, creating intervals and events, and creating intervals and events. So creating the sites, creating the investigators, also creating the patient positions we did.
Ma'am, I have one question
Yes.
regarding bulk patient load enrollment dates. Can you show us any with real-time Excel sheet link to upload patient
Uh,
enrollment dates?
okay. Can you create one and send it to me? I'll try that one.
Okay.
Okay. Just create the random one. Okay. With the load, date loads, we'll see that.
In the patient enrollment dates?
Hmm.
Okay.
Only dates.
Okay.
Patient number, dates.
Random dates.
Yeah. Random dates. That's
Okay.
fine.
Sure.
It's open here in the system, in the
Okay.
system tree. Yeah. Right. So we can design the CRF half part in the GLIP, half part in the definition. Half part we can design in the GLIP, half in the definition. You see, when you just expand the GLIP, you can see questions, question groups, DVG, discrete value groups, DCM, DCI also available. But if you create DCI, DCM here, ultimately you need to copy to definition. So instead of creating here and copying it to definition, better to create in the definition itself. Can you expand definition? Whatever that you create in the definition, it will be defined to the study. Whatever you create in the glib, whatever you create in the glib, it will be available globally. It will be available globally. So you can, so questions, question groups, the hierarchy for the design is questions, question groups, DCM, DCI, DCI book. So we are not going to create the DCI book here. Okay, so we'll only stop with the DCI. DCI book is required for the RDC entry, remote data capture. When I start RDC, then we'll create the DCI book. But in this session, for now, for the Oracle Clinical, till DCI, the concepts are enough. So we'll create them. Okay. So you first step is questions, right? But before we start questions, we have to decide whether the question is open-ended or closed-ended. Before you start designing the questions, before you start configuring questions, you have to decide whether there are open-ended questions or closed-ended questions. Okay, so these are open-ended or closed-ended. So you can better explain what is open, what is closed. Closed means when you have possible values, when you can guess and predict the values for the particular question, those are closed. Let's say gender, marital status, race, ethnicity, these are all closed. What can be the open then? So when you don't have the possible responses, when you are leaving a space or blank or box to enter the response, that is open. Which is open. Okay, so if you are creating open-ended questions, you can directly start creating questions. If you are creating open-ended questions, you can directly start creating questions. No need to plan for the possible values for the question. No need to plan for the possible values for the question. Okay, so in case if you are creating closed-ended question, first you need to plan what are all the values required, what is the code list required, what are all the possible values required for the question. Then you start designing question. So if it is open-ended, you can directly start creating question. There's no question of other things to configure. But if it is closed-ended question, first you need to create DVG, discrete value groups. You can see in the glib we have DVG, discrete value groups.
Could you please repeat once again, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. If the question is open-ended question, you can easily categorize open and closed, right? Can you?
Yes, yeah.
So when you're creating open, you don't require any possible values. You don't require any code list for it. So you can directly start creating question. But if you are creating closed-ended question, you need to plan to create first code list. You need to plan for the code list. What are all the questions required code list? And what will be the permissible code list? Code list is nothing but list of values for the particular question. Let's say code list of male, female for the question gender. Code list of yes, no. Okay, so for the questions requesting answers yes, no. Lot of questions that we have. requesting? Answers yes, no. Okay. DVG, not DOG, DVG, discrete value groups, right? You have here, Likita, you can just have a look. In the glib, we have DVG. Can you point there, Nandini?
Yeah.
Click on that. DVG. Open first one. Okay, so this is DVG window, discrete value groups. It is nothing but code list for the particular question. DVG is nothing but the code list or list of values we can call. Right. So, right. First, we need to decide the question which require the DVG. Before we go further, creating CRF design, we'll explain one concept. Okay, status concept. Okay, so whichever the content that you create of CRF, we have different contents, questions, question groups, DVGs. Okay, so DCM, DCI. So when you are creating all of these, you have the status three types. You can make a note of that one. You have a status three types. So one is provisional, active, retired. Nandini, can you go to query, execute query? Yeah. Can you point on the status? It's just below the DVG type. No, not status bar.
Okay.
Status is one of the field. Just below the DVG type.
Okay.
Yeah. Just point there. Click on that. Drop down is there, right? Select the drop down. Yeah. So we have three types of status, whichever that you take, whether you take DVG, questions, question groups, DCMs, DCIs, in all these places you have status. These three: provisional, active, retired. Provisional, active, retired. So provisional means while creating the record, the status will be provisional. While creating record, status will be provisional. Until you save the record, you cannot change it to active. That means while creating itself, you cannot change the status to active. Okay. So after creating, once you make sure of that, when you don't have any wrong or when you don't have any wrong entries. So when the record is correct, after cross-checking, then we'll change it to active. So when do we go for active then? Before you assign it to next, before you assign it to next level. Let's say DVG to be assigned to question to be assigned to question group, because all the logically questions will be grouped under question group. All the logically question groups grouped under DCM. All the logically DCMs grouped under DCI. Logically DCIs grouped under DCI book. Okay. So you need to go on assigning to higher hierarchy, next levels. So when you're creating DVG, you have to assign to questions. Questions to question group. So when you're going for the next level assignment, then we change it to active. So once you change status to active, you cannot make any changes in the record. Once you change status to active, we cannot make any changes to record. When it is in provisional, we can edit, we can delete. But when you change it to active, you cannot delete. So when you are creating, status will be provisional. Later we'll change it to active. Later we'll change it to active. Okay. Before you assign to next level, we'll change it to active. So you know the difference between active and the provisional. Provisional, we can update, we can delete, we can, whatever you want to do, you can do with the provisional. But active, we cannot modify, we cannot even delete the record also. You cannot even go back to provisional. You cannot go back to provisional. You cannot delete the record. You cannot edit also, in case if you require any edits. So the only option that you are remaining with is change it to retired. In case if something goes wrong with active, you have to change it to retired. The only option that is remaining, retired. Retired is nothing but trash, as good as trash. Deleted one. We cannot delete, but we can move all these unwanted to retired. So retired will not be reused again. It cannot be changed to active also. So we can change the status from provisional to active, active to retired, but not in reverse. We cannot change retired to active, active to provisional. So this is the status. Status will be applicable all the contents of the CRF. So you can cancel here.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So when we're going from provisional to active, does it automatically make that change once we save the record, or is that something that we'll be prompted to do?
No. We have to change it. It will not be changed automatically by itself. Okay. After creating the record, you need to review that. Okay. You need to review, or your next level hierarchy will review that and will change it to active. Before you make it to active, you have to thoroughly check the record, because after changing it to active, you cannot edit, you cannot delete. Okay. So the only option that is retired. The retired is nothing but as good as deleted.
Hi, Chandrika. Quick question.
Yeah, please.
So if we by accident or we don't know, like we moved it to active and we know that we cannot edit or do it, so we obviously move it to retired. So in that case, do we need to enter the information again from scratch, like from the beginning?
You have an option here. You can copy from the retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can copy the record. You have option copy. Go to special, Nandini. See, there is a copy option. You can copy that.
Okay. So it goes back to provision, first step, right?
Correct. When you copy from retired or active, you can copy the active one. You can even copy the retired one.
Oh, okay.
In some records, it will not allow you to copy the retired one. So before you change it to retired, you copy the active one, then change it to retired.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
I'll show you how to copy the records. Okay, later. After this, I'll
Thank
show you how to copy. Yeah, welcome. So when you copy, let's say this record is active. This is not of my use. Okay, I did a mistake in this one. Okay, I would like to make a copy of this one. The copied one will be with the provisional. Though it is active, when you are creating copy, the copied one will be with provisional so that we can make the changes. Okay. So next. So this is about status. Status is important because it will apply to all of them, because we have a lot of options that we can enable even after changing the status to active also. We can do those activities. I'll explain them. Okay. So we have, now today's topic is DVG, discrete value groups. Today's topic, discrete value groups. Okay. So we have DVG, discrete value groups, code list. It is nothing but drop down values for the particular question, closed-ended questions. So before you create question, you need to thoroughly check whether it is closed or open. If it is closed, you need to come here, DVG, and create the DVG. Otherwise, you can start with questions. Let's say if I want to create date of birth, I can directly go with question because date of birth is not closed. All dates are open, not closed. Almost all the dates are open. So when it is closed-ended, you have to come here and plan for the DVG. Okay. So we have 5 steps in DVG. So the first step, naming and defining the DVG. The first step, naming and defining the DVG. The second step, adding the values to DVG. Second step, adding values to DVG. Both the steps you can do in this window only. The first part is DVG. See, upper part to create DVG, lower part to add the values. Okay. Adding discrete values to DVG. Third one, creating subset. Fourth one, third one, creating subset. Fourth one, changing the status to active. Fourth step is changing the status to active. Last step, assigning these DVG to questions. Assigning these DVG to questions. Okay. So you can go to query, enter query. Right. We have one DVG, that is other action taken. Just search with other. We'll delete them and we'll create again. Okay. In case if you have any study related also, you can create later. Other. Percent execute query. So this is a question that related to any other action taken in relation to the adverse event. Generally, action taken adverse event will be there. Action taken with a study drug means in response to adverse event, is there any action taken with the study drug? Dose increase, dose decrease, dose delayed, increased dose, okay, drug withdrawn. These are all the action taken with the study drug. In case if any other action taken, that is also will have the drop down. If you can see the annotated CRF, which I sent you, in that you can find this question in serious adverse event form, adverse event form. Both the forms will have this question. Okay, other action taken. Okay, so what you do is just delete this, only copy the first one, or let's say copy the description. Just click on the description, Nandini.
Sure.
It is showing description, right? Yeah. Click on that. Copy, Control C. Right, you delete this one. Because we are going to do on the same thing. So the common questions we already have, yes, no. When you're practicing also, do not create the common DVG, because DVG that we are creating in the glib, if it is there here, you can easily assign to your question, you can easily assign to your study. No point of creating duplicate one. Before you create any DVG, you first check whether the DVG is already there. If it is already there, no point of creating it. Okay? Better to use the existing one. Yes. It's not deleted. No, it's deleted. Other relevant history. Yeah. Go to data, insert record. Right. Name of the DVG. Other action taken. Any other action taken other than action taken with the study drug. Anyway, we'll collect action taken with the study drug. If any other action taken, any concomitant medication given, any over-the-counter drug given, patient is hospitalized for the treatment of the adverse event. Right, domain always will be standard. In the glib, whatever you create, domain will be standard. Subset number 0, default 0. It is base DVG, but you cannot assign this one to the questions. Description, you paste it. What you did? Control B.
Sorry.
So DVG type from the drop-down. It comes under adverse effect. You can select adverse effect. You have predefined categories. You can select any of these. And thesaurus, internal, alpha. We have 3 types. So the best one is internal. Thesaurus we will not use. Alpha we use it for null values. Null means not done, not available, no information. When you're assigning to question, you can assign internal as well alpha, both. Right. Status showing provisional, let it be, because we cannot make any changes to this one. Susceptible means after changing the status to active, we can create more subsets. Generally, after changing status to active, we cannot make the changes. But here we are selecting this option to make this available, to make more subsets, even after changing the status to active. Even after changing the status to active also, you can create more subsets. That is susceptible. Expandable. Let's say values that I'm adding 5 here. Further, if you want to expand the values, in case if even after changing the status to active also, we can add the more values. Enter by sequence. Okay, enter by sequence means you can enter the data by entering the sequence number. Okay, I'll explain this one. Can you try to save this one? Will it be saved without adding values?
Sure.
It's saved. So exit. Go to data entry page. Close this one. Close the glib. Right. Go to definition also. Right. Data entry. Let's say update. I think I have to change the study. Yeah, it is asking study anyway. That's good. From the drop down, you select the recent study. Okay, can you just use down arrow? Down arrow. Again. Better to go for the diabetic study or gastric ulcer. Anything will be fine. You can search, find. Dia. Find. Right, dia underscore study 1. So in data entry, it will ask you to select the study. Say okay. So patient, enter the patient number, 130, execute query. Just put the cursor in the comment. Don't worry about all this. I will explain how to enter, how to navigate. I'm just trying to explain enter by sequence. Now go to next. Use tab in your keyboard. Tab in your keyboard, tab key. Again tab. You'll get the data entry form, the one that we already designed. You see, patient gender is showing, right? M is showing. So this is somewhat the drop down that we configured in the code list in the DVG. It's showing M, F. The numbering that you can observe, sequence number that you have. So display sequence number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So while adding the values, we enter the numbers. Okay. So when you are entering data, without choosing from the dropdown, it will ease your data entry. So instead of going to dropdown like this, okay, if you know the numbers, you can just enter 2 here. See, if you enter 2 and go to next field, it will be automatically converted to female. I'm not selecting from the dropdown. I'm just entering 1 or 2 here. See, 1 converted to male. Okay. So 2 converted to female. Now you see, I would like to select India. It is showing African. I would like to select India. See, 1. Tab. It is selected India. This is enter by sequence. So by entering the sequence number, the values will be prompted. Okay, so we'll go back to GLIP definitions. Sorry, we'll go back to GLIP other action taken. I have to go to query because the record is already saved. Other action taken, execute query. So this is the one. Expandable, enter by sequence. So if you want to enable that option, use here enter by sequence. Resequence means you can reorder the sequence numbers even after changing the status to active. Okay, so display type LOB. So what is LOB? List of values. And you have other drop down also, you can see. Checkbox, flag, LOB. LOB means whatever just now we discussed. That is LOB. Just now, whatever we discussed, that is LOB. Okay. So checkbox means after each value, a small box will be provided like this. Like this. We have a small boxes right here, checkboxes. Like this, for each value, it will provide one small checkbox. You need to enter the response. You need to click the check that box, click that box. Okay, and CB layout. If you select the display type CBG checkbox group, then it will ask you CB layout. Okay, so whether it is horizontal or vertical. So vertical to the right, that means whether you want to display those values one below the other, one after the other. Where do you want the labels? Before the box, after the box. Before the checkbox, after the checkbox. To the right, to the left. Okay, next. So it's selecting something. Whether you want to give short value, long value. Short value is, let's say, male, female. M, short value. Male, long value. Whether you want to display just M on the form or male, long or short. If it is flag check, then flag value to be selected. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going with all these. I'll go with LOB, which is suitable for all types of entry. Next, we have uppercase. It will force you to, if you select this uppercase, it will force you to enter the values in uppercases. Maximum value length. If 15 is not enough, we can increase the length. Let's say 40. Okay, now you understand the retirement reason. If you are changing the status to retired, it will ask you the reason for the retirement. If you are changing the status to retired, it will ask you the reason for the retirement. So that retirement reason will be displayed here. Status comment, like it is provisional. If you're changing to active, you can just write the comment related to status, which is not important. You can even leave this blank also. So values, what can be the values? You can add the values, Nandini.
Sure.
So first value, I think none, NONE, that means no other action taken. That same thing will be displayed in the long value. If you click on long value, right. Second sequence, remedial therapy, remed, hyphen, REM, that's all. REM hyphen. REM hyphen, pharmacologic. REM hyphen pharmacologic. Right. So same thing will be displayed here. Now next go to same REM non-pharmacologic.
Do you have to type up everything? Can you just say pharma, or do you have to type up everything?
In the short value, you can say pharma, but in the long value, you have to mention everything. Fourth one, hospitalized. Let's say HOSP. Long value, hospitalization. Right, that's all. No fifth value. If you want to add 5 and 6, let's say after adding 5, there is no other column to add, right? Other row to add. So what you can do, you can go to data insert record and add the other one. Let's say first one is unknown, UNK. Okay. In case if you want to add sixth one, go to data insert record. It will insert the record here. Like this, you can add. So something. But I'm going to delete this one because we don't have all these values. We only have 4 values for this. Okay, save this. So this is second step, adding discrete values to DVG. Third one, creating subset. Why this subset? Why the subset? So can't we assign this DVG to the questions? We can say no. We cannot assign these DVG to questions. See DVG, subset number 0. 0 we can assign. 0 called base DVG. Base DVG we cannot assign to the questions or question groups. Base 1 that you cannot assign to questions or question groups. Okay, what you need to do then? For each DVG, for each created DVG, at least you must have one subset. So creating one subset, it is fine. Then why do we need to have more than that? Can we create subset 2 also? We can create. Can we create subset 3 also? We can create. Then why we have other subsets? Why we have other subsets? Okay, you can see here. I just have a question that is severity. So what can be the values for the severity? Mild, moderate, severe. Mild, moderate, severe. I just want to collect mild to moderate, severe in the initial stages of the study. Initial stages of the study. I would like to collect in the later stages of the study, mild to moderate, severe, life-threatening also. In the initial stages, I would like to collect only with 3 values. Later stages, I would like to collect the same with all the 4 values, mild, moderate, severe, life-threatening. So how to go then? Do we need to create 2 separate DVGs for this? 1 DVG for this, 1 DVG for this? Not required. You create base DVG. with subset number 0. Having all the 4 values. So life-threatening, mild, moderate, severe. You create subset 1. Anyway, this way you cannot assign. So subset 1 you create with only 3 values. Remove LD. You can remove. Just click on the value, delete record. You have subset 2 with all the values. Keep as it is all the values. When you are creating subset, it will create as it is copy of the base one. You can keep all the 4 values. That means no need to create again separate DVG from the scratch. You can just go on modifying these values by having subsets, subset 1, 2, 3 like that. Clear it? This is what subset. I'll show you how to create the subset. You can go to article. Now it is showing subset 0, right? You can go to special, create DVG subset. Are you sure want to make the subset of current DVG? Yes. Subset operation successful. Subset has been created. You can go to special, create subset. Now, to see whether the subset is created or not, I have to requery, or I have to go back and open it again. So let's say, go to query, enter query. Execute query. You see, it is showing now 0, but you can go to next record to see. Go to next record. It is showing subset number 1. Okay, now I can create another subset in case if you have any change of these values. Okay, third step is simple. Creating subset. Fourth one, changing the status to active. So changing the status to active also a simple step. Just click on here, changing it to active. But when you are changing the status to active, you have to change base DVG only. You cannot directly make subset number 1 if you have base in provisional. See, changing it to active, save. Existing subset 1 also made active. If you change base DVG, automatically subsets also will be changed to active. Now if I go next, it is showing still provisional. Whatever the changes that you are doing to the subsets, whatever the changes that you are doing to the subsets, to see them, you need to definitely requery it. Go to query, enter query, execute query. See? Subset number 1, change to active. Subset number 0, active. So the last step, assigning DVG to questions, we'll discuss tomorrow. While creating questions itself, we can assign these DVGs to questions. Okay, that we'll see tomorrow.
What is thesaurus or internal or alpha, ma'am?
Alpha is for null values, internal is for normal values. Thesaurus we will not use, it is for the coding.
And what is expandable?
You're adding 4 values, right? Further, even after changing the status to active also, if you want to expand the DVG.
Okay. And enter by sequence?
I showed with example enter by sequence.
Enter by sequence is nothing but like a format, right, Chandrakala?
Instead of selecting from the drop down, if you enter the number, automatically the value will be selected. Let's say I assign none 1. No need to select from the drop down when you are entering data. If you enter just 1, automatically none will be selected. If you enter 2 number, automatically pharmacologic will be selected.
Yeah, I got it. It's nothing but like a format in SAS dataset, like in like
Yeah,
one.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, correct. In the SAS language, it is a prop format, right?
Okay. Thanks.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Bye. So you can log off.
Excuse me.
Haritha, yeah, you.
For every
Rose, any
D,
question?
Thank you, ma'am.
yes, for every DBG that is created, do you create a subset to enter it?
Subset?
Yes.
I didn't get you.
Hello.
Rose, can you repeat again? Yeah.
Yes, for every DBG that you create, do you have to create a subset for it?
Yes, at least one subset. 2 and 3, 4 depends upon your requirement, but at least one subset we must have.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Jaya, you can be online. Haritha, you can be online. AJ, you can be online. Umarani, you can be online.